I'm Shay and welcome back to the Soft Summer Diary. So today we're going to talk about my recently discovered color palette, which is Soft Summer. I would like to share with you some insight on measuring or determining whether you're a soft summer like me or not, based on what I've learned from the color analysis professional that I went to for my session and results, how she was able to determine that I was a soft summer. So I think the main two things that I would like to talk about to measure or to discover whether you're a soft summer or not probably has something to do with your undertone, whether it's cool or warm. And then the second one would be, I don't know if complexion is the right word for it, but it's more of like how your face would appear against several types of colors. Vibrant colors, pastel colors, dark colors, etc. I'm not able to say for the rest of the colors because I'm not, familiar with them. I probably can say the difference between maybe like soft autumn and deep autumn because those two were my previous colors that I thought I was. So I can kind of give a comparison between these three palettes instead. So hopefully if you're either in one of these palettes, you can let me know whether it's exactly as what I've learned, or if you're not, the same thing goes. Or maybe there's more information or contradicting information that you might have learned on your own journey to discovering your own color palette and color analysis. I was taught by the professional that undertone doesn't necessarily mean the outer skin that you see on first glance. So, like I said before in my previous video, I always assumed that I was warm because I was yellow toned. I thought that, like, because I wasn't pale or I wasn't white enough, the general idea of what a cool color is, that I wasn't cool. You can actually be cool even if you don't look like you're fair skin, light. It just depends on the melanin that appears under your skin. I'm not a scientist, so I don't really know, the deep scientific explanation of what a melanin is or how it works and etc. and how it compares to your skin. The professional just told me that melanin really depends on genetics for the most part. And whether, you're light skin or brown or yellow or dark or chocolate, doesn't matter because melanin is basically something that you cannot really see in first glance on your skin. So instead, it kind of shows when you drape yourself against several types of colors to determine which one suits you best or which one looks the most natural, the most balancing. How to determine your undertone? The most typical one would usually be jewelries. You can try to test this out if you have several variations of gold and silver and even rose gold jewelries. Try to wear them, bare skin, so no makeup, just plain hair, also pretty covered, showing your natural color. And you can kind of see whether gold or silver or rose gold looks good on you. You can have another person look at it with their own fresh eyes to have a more like maybe impartial judgment on whether you look good in either of these jewelries. If gold makes you look balanced or gold makes you look, fresh, natural, then you're probably a warm. As compared to maybe when you're wearing something that's silver, it makes you more yellow, or it makes you very pale, or it just doesn't look right, or it makes you look very like even darker than you're supposed to look, etc. Suits. And so if you're good at wearing silver, that means you might probably be cool. And if you're pretty good with rose gold, you might be in the middle of cool and warm, which is neutral. What I've learned from the professional was that even if you're neutral, you'll always be a bit leaning to either a warm or a cool. So what I discovered for myself was that I was a neutral, but I was leaning more to the cool side. That's why it was kind of difficult for me to pinpoint whether I was warm or cool to begin with in the first place, I guess, because I always assumed that gold suited me, but I always wondered too that like silver also looked pretty good. I am a neutral leaning to cool. I know that there's also an undertone called olive, and I asked the profession about it because I thought that I was olive, and it was kind of like an interesting exchange of information that she told me. Olive undertone is practically non-existent, like it's not a real undertone. Basically, it's just another word for neutral. Another way of kind of determining whether you're cool or warm is checking the veins on your the top of your wrist. If you have like a greenish vein that pops out more vividly that you see under like normal lighting, you're probably a warm. If you see like a bluish or purplish tint, then you're probably cool. I've always been confused with mine because mine looks very mixed. Like I had a mix of like some blue hues mixed with green hues. Yeah, if you have a mix of both, that means you're practically a neutral. And I am a neutral with more purplish undertone, I guess. So that's why I'm a neutral cool. The alt idea to actually find out whether you are cool or warm is actually by means of draping. And that's going to be the next part of what we're going to talk about, which is going against specific colors and to see whether, you know, the color of your face matches well with the colors that are being draped on you. What really struck different in me at the time when the professional placed a golden draping on me versus a silver draping on me, I could clearly see that the silver actually makes my face look vibrant. It looked more healthy and it looked like it wasn't fighting with the gold, with the silver. Whereas as compared to when I was wearing very gold draping, it made my face quite yellowish, like a bit of like a mustard color, like a murky yellow on my face. And all like my dark spots as well as like my blemishes were more visible compared to when I was wearing the silver. That's why we kind of deducted that I was a cool, because silver suited me really well. The second idea is the draping, continuation from, you know, the gold and the silver drapings. After you kind of discover whether you're a cool or a warm, or maybe you're neutral in the beginning, like in between, then you can proceed to wear the more vibrant or contrasting color of that undertone. I think the professional analyst discovered that I was cool, so she started putting on some like cool drastic colors on me, like bright fuchsia, bright green, and deep, deep blue, deep purple, etc. And comparing it to maybe like a lighter color, my face became very like murky, not really like very glowy when it was wearing very bright neon colors. These kinds of colors would not suit on my face because they were so like harsh on me that it didn't look like it was natural. Like it looked like the drape was eating me. Basically, that was the point. Like it wasn't blending very well with my face. But when it started going to a more like grayish color, where it's not as bright, it's not as white, then it started to make sense that like it started to mesh well with my face. I wasn't like, my face wasn't fighting for your attention, nor was the draping trying to eat me because it was so like out there. So that's when we noticed that I was very more suited to a more like soothing, musky, dusty color. Pink also suits me, and some yellow tones also suit me, but it's when they are more grayish in tone than they are brighter or deeper or even like more pastel. They don't suit me at all. It just fights with me, like it fights with my face. That's why eventually we figured out that I was I was somewhere near the summer soft palette. And then it got further determined when the soft summer draping was put on me, and it was like as if my whole view was like balanced out. I looked more alive, honestly. And so that's when I discovered that like, oh, I probably am better suited for these colors. Told her that I was a soft autumn before, I was a deep autumn before. We tried wearing those seasonal color drapes, and it did look very different. Deep autumn was definitely not my color. That's when I noticed that I was a soft girl. I was definitely a soft person, because when I was starting to wear the deep autumn, it washed out my face so much. My face looked very like drunken, felt like it was not like vibrant or glowy enough to make it look like it's healthy. When I started wearing soft autumn, it got better. Definitely, my face didn't get so like dark, but it was still pretty off. Like some of the colors didn't really harmonize well with my face. I noticed that the soft summer had more colors that suited me than the soft autumn. My strong colors were purple, blue. These two colors would complement well with my skin. I always thought like I was suited to have brown colors on me, where in fact, the professional told me that I had no brown on me at all. So, yeah, it even made it more clear when she showed me like the makeup palette that was like warm based and then cool based versus each other. You notice the stark difference. The warm base made my face very flat and very, yeah, mustardy is the word. Whereas the cool face showed a little bit more of like my glow and looked more natural, which is it for understanding or kind of discovering what your color palette is in general. You can start off with determining your undertone first to make it easier for you, because in the 4 seasonal color palette, the main 4, we have spring, autumn, summer, and winter, right? And 2 are warm, 2 are cool. So if you already know that you're cool, or if you already know that you're warm, then you kind of can start being able to experiment whether you're like the between those two color palettes that are either warm or cool. Let me give you a quick idea of what I mean. I have the same brand, okay, 2 Esca blushes, same brand, but different color. One is called Milan, the other one is called Honolulu. As you can tell, Honolulu is a little bit more warm. Actually, it's not a little bit, it's definitely warm because it's like orangey in color, it's kind of coral. And then we have Milan, it's a little bit more like mauve, a little bit more purplish tone. So we'll see. I'll put the purplish tone here, I'll put the warm tone here, and you can see the striking difference. We have a purplish one and we have a bit of a, like, it looks like it's pink, but there is orange tint in it. That's why it's basically coral. Okay, I'm just gonna dab it so you can see a little bit of the coral. Actually, not a little bit, it's pretty obvious now, isn't it? Okay, and then I'll wear the purple one. This is the more corally tone. This is the more lavender kind of hue. And as you can see, I look better on this side. I guess I look okay too on the right, but if you notice, the right, the blush is kind of like fighting with my face over like power, over your attention. You know, like, hey, look at me, look at me. This is what you should look at. Not my eyes, not my mouth, not my cheeks, not my face, but this. But if you notice this one, it blends well with my face. It blends really nicely with the bottom and the top. Whereas this one has a bit more of like, you can see that it doesn't feel like it blends well together. It doesn't make like a perfect color. So this is a little bit of a basic idea of how you determine whether you're cool or warm, and whether you are a summer, winter, or a spring, autumn. Just a brief introductory idea or explanation of how you can determine it. I know I'm talking a lot, but yeah, I just don't want to forget these information that I learned from the professional, because I thought it was very helpful, and it really made me kind of think, or like open up my mind to the possibility that what I knew then is not the right way of what I should know now. So yeah, that's it for the soft summer discovery. But yeah, I will see you in the next video. Bye.